All right, so we should be live right now. But before we kind of get this interview underway, is there anything that you want to plug or anybody you want to shout out?
Just all the coaches that have always helped me throughout the along the way, and of course my parents for taking me to practice every step of the way, and they've always been there. So shout out to them.
Definitely, man. Well, I guess to give you more of a better introduction, I just want to say, I'm just blessedly bringing on right now one of, I guess, the rising stars, you call it, in the 2023 class, Spencer Elliott. So, let's kind of hop right back into this thing or into this interview. We'll kind of start off some little lighter topics, just kind of get you a little more adjusted to these interviews. So, I want to ask you, I don't know if you're watching, but you've been following March Madness and all, and you see
Oh,
what
of
just
course,
happened.
yeah, all weekend
Yes.
just March Madness.
Mhm. So what's the feelings after Gonzaga just got out right now?
That game was definitely. I did not expect that. I had Arkansas losing to them, so seeing them win was definitely big, especially for the SEC.
Yeah, you had Arkansas going like that far to the Sweet 16. Because I didn't
Um,
even have I had them losing
uh,
the second round.
yeah, that's how I had them losing too.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe because after like I thought they were a good team, but I
Hmm.
thought I thought they underperformed this season. I thought they could have done a little better, which they didn't do. They didn't win the SEC turn. They didn't make it to the SEC final. So I'm like, okay, they're not, they're just not as good as I thought they were. So I'll have them lose to UConn and whatever, and they ended up now beating Gonzaga. So that was a little bit of a bummer for me because I wanted to have a perfect Final Four and have Gonzaga go into the championship game. So no, that's done. But whatever.
What amazed me was how far St. Peter's has gotten.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, well, of course, it kind of happens all the time. But yeah, no, it's definitely surprising for sure. I forgot who was the second. The second team they beat was crap. Who was
Kentucky,
the second team they beat?
Kentucky.
No, but that was the first team. Who was the second team they beat?
Uh,
I
I thought
forgot.
Kentucky was the second team they played because the first team they played was or maybe I don't know. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I thought it was Kentucky first, and then oh damn, who was the second team? Oh, I know it's somebody good. Let me see. We're gonna find this right. I just know they beat them by 10. That's all I know. I know they won that second game by 10.
I just can't even remember.
Let's see. We're gonna get down to the bottom of this right now. Let's see. So the first team they beat, obviously, as we know, was Kentucky, and the second team that they beat. This gonna be just like I'm gonna feel so stupid after seeing this. Murray State. Okay,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
It's Murray State. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at them too because like this like I literally never heard of that school before. Like, it was one of those like no name
Mhm.
kind of schools. Like I feel like if I lived in New Jersey or like New York, I think I wouldn't be as surprised. But just because I don't live there, I'm like kind of shocked about this. But it is expected though of March Madness if you think
Yeah,
about it.
sure.
Yeah. You think they're gonna be able to get one more? You think it's gonna be done for
I
them?
think Purdue is definitely going to be hard to beat for them. And I mean, they
Yeah.
have all that momentum, but Purdue is a legit team, and they're definitely going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. I think the thing with Purdue versus Kentucky, like I just feel like Purdue, I would say like I had Purdue beating Kentucky. So if Kentucky beat them and made it to the Sweet 16, I had Purdue beating Kentucky. That would have been a great game, and that kind of sucks. It's not happening, but I had Purdue beating Kentucky. I just think Purdue plays a little harder. I like the players on Purdue more than the players on Kentucky.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like what I've seen from Purdue this whole season, and like I think that Kentucky's losses are more inexcusable. I feel like to Purdue's losses, like Kentucky's usually that top dog in the SEC,
Mhm.
and I think they should have been, um, and they weren't. So I'm not like too surprised by that.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I feel like Purdue has more they have more like dogs on their team. Like Kentucky's more, I feel like guys that aren't gonna play as hard if they happen to play versus Purdue. So like
Yeah.
I think if there was a team that could upset, St. Peter's could have upset. I think Kentucky I think would have been the one.
Yeah, they definitely were not expecting anything of St. Peter, so they definitely just came in the game thinking they were just going to kill them and just move on.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool. Like I think they won in overtime too in that first game. And like I feel like when that happens, like when you go to overtime, in my head, I'm like, well, I just think it's over. Like I think that when they went into overtime, like, okay, like now Kentucky's just gonna handle business. Like it's overtime now. Like, you couldn't get it done like in the regular, I guess, time. St. Peter's, like, I'm sorry, but now Kentucky's just gonna win, and they ended up not winning. So
That was crazy to see.
yeah, for sure. But it's now you kind of hop into this interview, talk about another March Madness team that I kind of wanted to go far, or at least go to the Sweet 16. They ended up folding. Actually, it was Illinois. I know you took an unofficial visit there. What was that experience like?
That experience was something like nothing else. It was just like coming into it, I was not expecting. Well, like first off, like someone tweeted that I was going to go on an unofficial visit to Illinois, and just after that, my Twitter was just blowing up from all the fans, and just the fan support there is just and like nothing else you will ever see. Then the game was just crazy. Like I was in the stadium before the game started, and right when they let in all the fans are just rushing down trying to get their seat in all the student section. But then like the coaching staff on top of that was just awesome. They were welcoming. They were happy to meet me for the first time. Then I hung out with the players a little bit, and they just like gave me motivational talks after the game. Kofi came up to me with the trophy, and he was like, "You got to be ready for this, man. This is like a whole different level of basketball," and that was definitely awesome.
Yeah, that definitely sounds pretty sick for sure. I forgot. Well, did Illinois, like, what kind of led you to go on that visit to Illinois? Because I don't think they offered you yet. So why did you choose to go there on an unofficial visit?
So me and Coach Frazier have been texting a while, and we've been sending back and forth film. And he's going to come and watch me play lot more this summer because he couldn't come down and watch me during our season. So just to like get me start the recruiting process with me, I just went and took a visit there.
Hmm. And do you remember which team? Because I know it was a big game. Like, which team did they end up beating when you were there? Iowa.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So that's obviously. Well, I feel like, man, Iowa. Not sorry to talk about tournament again, but man, Iowa just folded. I thought for sure they were
Yeah,
gonna go. They were gonna go far. That was actually a bit of a bummer.
I had them going pretty far too because the twins on that team are very good, or the
Mhm.
brothers Green, they're very good.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing with them, like, because I remember when Michigan went to the Final Four, I think it was, or Elite Eight, whatever. Like when they won the Big Ten, and they were it was kind of like a surprise. I thought
Mhm.
Iowa was going to do the same thing. I'm like, I learned my lesson with Michigan because with Michigan that year, I was like, okay, the momentum is going to end the tournament. They're not going to be like go past Sweet 16 or go past second round. So I'm like, okay, I learned my lesson because they made it to the Final Four. Iowa, you're going, to the Elite Eight. And I almost had them going to the Final Four, but then
Mhm.
I switched it up at the last possible second, but they really folded.
Yeah, I did not want that to happen. I had them going to the Final Four, I think.
Yeah. But as anyways, back to the Illinois stuff. Not to discredit, I think you also took a visit to Tulane as well, and we'll definitely talk about that. But going to Illinois, a Power Five school, kind of witnessing a game there. I mean, how much different was that for you seeing like that Power Five game?
Seeing that in person was a great experience for me because they play at such a high level, and that's something that I want to get to. So that inspires me to work every day, improving my game, making sure I'm doing the things I need to do off the court in order to prepare myself to play at that level.
Yeah, and how awesome was that? I guess watching the confetti come down and them getting the trophy for I think winning the not the Big 12, the Big 10 like regular season championship kind of thing. I mean you picked like for like the perfect weekend to go up there. Just how cool was that?
That was just awesome. Like right when they won, obviously the confetti came down, fans stormed the floor, and they were on the floor for like 20 minutes after until the players went back to the locker room, celebrated, came back out, and cut the nets down, and I got to witness that, and that was just amazing.
Yeah. Did you at all have like a favorite part from that whole visit?
My favorite part would definitely be when the coaches and players invited me to the locker room right after the win, and Coach Underwood came in, talked to the guys after he just got drenched by all the water, and he talked to the recruits. He was like, "You guys, you see the level we play at. You guys got to be ready for this." Similar to what Kobe said, and that was inspiring to us.
Yeah. And someone else too. I didn't really think about this till I honestly saw you on this I guess like on this interview when you joined the link, but I know you took a picture with Coleman Hawkins. You guys, if you told me you were related to him, I kind of believe you got that same curly hairdo going on. Do you have at all any connection to him, or you just took the picture because you know
I
who he
just
is?
took a picture with them, like during the game. his cousins and family members were like sitting pretty close to us. And right when the game ended, they came up to me. They're like, "We definitely got to take a picture." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, was it cause like they thought that you guys look kind of similar, or they were just saying that just cause?
They thought we looked similar. People send me pictures of Coleman Hawkins all the time. They're like, "Are you guys related?" And it's just a continuous thing.
Yeah, and I guess you guys play like kind of similar too. I would say I never see you play, but similar position too.
Yeah, we do. We both play
Yeah.
the wing. We're both like 6'9", 6'10", stretch the floor and can block shots.
hmm were you guys at all friends before the visit, or was that like your first time ever speaking to him?
That was my first time ever speaking to him.
So like I guess after the visit now, like have you at all built like a relationship with him?
I got to follow back on Instagram, so that's always good.
Okay,
And
yes, that's good. Okay, that's what I was hoping.
and as I get recruited more there, I think I'm definitely looking forward to building a relationship with not just him, but everybody else on the team.
hmm Yeah, I felt I was gonna like feel bad if you were like, no, you didn't follow me back. So that's kind of why I asked that question, because I was gonna feel pretty bad.
So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So now I guess we could kind of go away from that Illinois visit. Maybe we'll talk about it a little more later. Maybe we won't. But again, you did take a visit to Tulane. Was
Mhm.
that an official or unofficial?
That was unofficial.
Okay. So, well, I mean, why did you take a visit? Why did you take a visit to Tulane?
So there's a crazy backstory to that. So the coaching staff, they were at Georgia State years ago. And when I was younger, I would always go to the Georgia State summer camps, and that was just what I did every summer. Then once they moved to Tulane, I stopped going to the camps. Then over last summer, I was playing at one of the live events, and they were there, and they saw me, and they kind of recognized me, but they just like didn't really know, like they remember. But then right when my head coach, Coach Miller, of the Atlanta All Stars, told them who I was, they were like, "Oh wow, that's Spencer." Then we just we built the connection. Then texted, and they started recruiting me more. Then when I went to the visit, they handed me an official offer.
hmm And how cool is it to get an offer? I guess I'm assuming in person, like on the visit. I'm gonna assume that was the first time you ever got an offer in person.
Mhm. That was just I went to the visit just totally not expecting that, but, like, right when he, like, told me, of course, I had, like, a biggest smile on my face, and my family was there, so it was just awesome to have them there and experience that with me.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part from that visit?
I definitely just like walking around the school and just, like, feeling what the school atmosphere felt like, and when I was driving in, we saw, like, all, like, the Mardi Gras floats and all that stuff getting ready, and just, like, the vibe around the town was just, like, really cool, and walking around that and just being there was just a cool experience to have.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because like Tulane and Illinois are I feel like kind of different schools, but I would say they're both big time in their own
Mhm,
like respects. Like in terms of academics, Tulane's definitely. I mean, Illinois is not like a dumb school at all, but like Tulane's at that
mhm,
next tier for academics. And I know like it's in a city, it's kind of in New Orleans. Like Illinois is kind of in its own college town thing. So I was really curious as how cool like how it was to kind of be at like a city school kind of
mhm,
thing, and especially like in New Orleans, a city definitely has some character. I
yeah.
heard.
So, like, obviously, they have Mardi Gras every year, and that's, like, a huge thing to go to, but just, like, that city feel is just and, like, plus the college feel of the campus is just, like, really cool, and it's just, like, you're a part of, like, the college and you're a part of the city, and just, like, there you have, like, all these fans and, like, it's just, like, being a part of the city is just, like, really cool.
Yeah. Did you get to go to a game there, or were they not playing?
We went to the Wichita State game, and they won.
Okay.
Mhm.
What was I mean, I'm sure it's definitely not going to be as good as Illinois, but like, what was the atmosphere like for a game? Like, do they have a good amount of fans? It's not really like that. Like, how was like the game like there?
I mean, I'd say the atmosphere was pretty similar, just like on a smaller scale. They like when you go to the game, you can tell like all their fans are just like really, really loyal. Like they age from like really young kids to like old people, and it was just like they're gonna stick with you through thick and thin. That's how I felt about like the
Mhm.
atmosphere of the fans there.
Yeah, I guess because the thing at Tulane, it's not like it's not a good school, but it's more like, the kids there, I would say they're not going because they want to cheer on whatever the green waves. Like they're not there to,
Hmm.
go watch a sports game every weekend. Like they're there because they kind of care about school or
Hmm.
whatever. So I guess that's kind of why. But I think though the Tulane I kind of like their colors. I think their colors are
They're nice.
actually really cool.
They're nice.
Yeah.
The light
Did you
blue
get
and the green jerseys especially
yeah,
were
yeah.
very
Did you get to try them on or not?
I didn't. I think
Was
next
that was
time when I go
that
to visit there very soon, I'll try them on for sure.
Yeah, because I think their colors like are definitely, my opinion. I think some of the best in college basketball. But now transitioning to another school, it would be kind of mean if we just never talked about North Florida. Who was your first offer? So what was it like receiving that offer from them? Being your first offer.
Being my first offer was definitely just like life changing for me, just because like I've worked my whole life to get that offer, and it was just like it showed like my hard work is finally paying off, and like I can't just be satisfied with this first offer. I just gotta keep going and getting more.
hmm And I used to school in North Florida. Have you at all discussed maybe taking a visit over there or anything like that?
As the school season calmed down, I'm definitely going to plan to take a visit this summer as I have more time.
Do you because I know you had like practice or whatever. Was that for AAU or is that like still for high school?
That was for AAU. We have our
Yeah.
first tournament this weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna assume. And now it kind of makes sense because I guess I'm assuming oh wow, I just got a notification from the thing. If Duke wins, I move from 7,051 or 51st place to 4,600 in second place, which is pretty
Jeez.
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's in like someone's like that's in Andy Katz's bracket league, so it's not even like close to everything. But that's a good jump though. That's actually
Yeah.
pretty good.
I have
Yeah,
a
but
friend that's like 1,000th place on like the ESPN one, and that's just crazy.
yeah, that's actually I feel like more of a big deal. But anyways, yeah, I was gonna say because I know you were like, yeah, I gotta drive from practice, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if a school's far from him. But then I just realized I'm like, okay, it has to be AAU because like, why would he go like live that far from his school?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That makes I guess a lot more sense. But I feel like your two offers right now. You got Tulane, kind of southern. You got North Florida, also kind of southern.
Mhm.
But then you did take a visit to Illinois. So I mean, are you open to living anywhere, playing anywhere? Are you trying to maybe stay close to home or in the southeast region? Like where do you see yourself like playing at the next level?
I'm definitely open to everything, especially after going to the Illinois visit and just seeing what that was like, even though it's so far away up north. That would just be something really hard for any recruit to say no to.
hmm Yeah, definitely. And I guess since we kind of talked about AU a little bit, the program Atlanta All Stars, haven't
Mhm.
really heard too much about them. But I guess obviously you're doing something right. You're getting an offer, so it's not like
Mhm.
you need to go to. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to like go to like a better program, a bigger, better school. But you're getting a lot of action, and I guess eyes following you from where you are right now. So they're doing something right over there. What's it like being a part of that program?
Being a part of that program is definitely just something special because they've been around for 20 years. Coach Miller started it like 20 plus years ago. They've sent players like at every level. They've sent them college, at whatever division. They've sent them overseas, the NBA professional. So just like being a part of that and walking in those guys' footsteps is definitely like something I love to be a part of. And like our like motto to say is just don't be selfish and trust the process and opportunities will come.
hmm Are there like any guys on that program that, as you'd say, are like your best friends, and maybe you're hoping to play with them at the next level?
So the funny thing is, I have some kids from like rivalry schools on our team, and it's just like
Mhm.
fun to be with them and play around them and just get each other better. To like next time we see each other, like during the high school season.
Yeah. What is that like? I feel like that's kind of common for AAU now, where people like play AAU basketball together, but then they're in the high school, they're like rivals. I mean, does it make the rivalry? I almost feel like not as I wasn't not as important, but not as like mean to each other. It's more just like a friendly competition kind of thing. Like what do you think the rivalries are now then for you if you're kind of buddies with a lot of the best players at your rival schools?
So I mean, yeah, I guess I could say it makes it like less like rivalry ish, just because like we're friends and we talk to each other on and off the floor. But like obviously when we see each other during the high school season, we're not just going to go easy on each other just because the games are so big, and especially if they're playing at Pius, the gym is just going to be packed, and you have to show out.
Yeah. I always found that funny. Like I know, like with my school and their rivalry, like it used to be much more like, oh shit, my bad. It used to be like much more intense and everything.
Mhm,
But I guess I started to realize like a lot of these guys like they literally would. I feel like Corona almost changed everything. Where during Corona, like nothing to do, and they all of a sudden like started training together, started using the same trainers because
mhm,
whoever's that one trainer that got the gym open, like at wherever, found a place to like hoop, like that's where everyone's gonna go. So then they all started like training together and work out together, and now I feel like it's almost more of a student thing where the two teams, the two players, coaches, they don't hate each other. It's more like just the students don't realize like that both teams are like basically friends with each other, and I feel like it's almost like the kids that make it a rivalry now at this point because like all the players are all friends.
mhm. So with
Yeah.
that, it's just like we've a lot of kids on both teams, on all the rivalry teams. We have because we have two. They've known each other like all their lives. So every time they see them, it's just either they're best friends or they want to go at each other, and that's just what makes those rivalries special.
Yeah. But now I am curious though. Like you obviously had to meet these players from your rival schools. Like you weren't just like born and all of a sudden friends with them. You
Mhm,
obviously met them at some point. If you met them like after maybe you played them like for the
mhm,
first time, like was it all like awkward? Like all of a sudden this guy you didn't really like,
mhm.
all of a sudden, then you meet them at like AU practice, and was that all awkward?
Kind of, I guess. It's just like you have to put that high school season behind you because you can't like hold like any grudges or in the AAU season just because it's a whole nother season. You guys are on the same team now, and you guys have to work together to win and just help each other out. So it's just you got to put that all behind you.
Yeah, I feel like you say that though, but there's no way. I mean, if you guys are traveling, so I mean, I'm sure you guys
Mhm,
haven't done too much traveling because of Corona, but if you're on a trip, maybe another state, you get a lot of time to kind of joke around or just hang out in the hotel rooms, whatever. There's no way there's not some trash talk going on about the high school season that comes up. There's no way that just isn't talked about.
yeah, it'll get brought up every now and then just because every time we play each other, it's always a close game. There's always some highlight plays in those games. So when we're trash talking each other, we'll bring those up every now and then.
Hmm. Definitely. I guess this high school season looks like you accomplished some things. I mean, you're able to see the Region 5, Class 5A All Region team.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, that's a very big deal. What was this high school season like? And would you say, I guess, this was more of a statement season for you?
This was definitely a statement season for me just because I worked super hard to put my name on the map this season and just like learning how to be there for my teammates on and off the floor when they needed something. And just like whenever we didn't really think we were gonna get that far this season just because we were super young and didn't have that much experience, but we made it really farther than we expected. And when we got there, we just played as hard as we could every single time we stepped on the floor.
Hmm. Do you have like a favorite game or favorite moment from this season?
My favorite moment was definitely in one of the rivalry games, just because the atmosphere when you play at St. Pius, we have thousands of fans at the game and this tight gym, and you just like feel like the whole gym rumbling, and it's loud and it's just fun to play in.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to look at the schedule. I'm trying to see like if I even know some of these teams. But I'm assuming though this season, let's see, so this was like a junior year. I'm
Mhm,
just gonna assume last year like was nothing like this year in terms of atmosphere, in terms of rivalries. Well,
mhm.
actually, I mean, we'll be like Atlanta was actually kind of always like doing good. I feel like basketball wise, but I'm assuming this year was definitely a lot more different. Was this like at all maybe a little bit of an adjustment for you, like coming back where you might have had some big rivalry games your sophomore year, but this year like now you're getting a lot more students in and all that. So was that atmosphere an adjustment?
Having the students there is just it makes the biggest difference ever just because you have fans behind you when you're up or down. They're always going to be pushing you and just cheering you on and making you do better. So it's always a better atmosphere and all that when you have the students there.
Mhm. I'm curious. I just realized because you are a junior. Did you ever play JV basketball at all your freshman or sophomore year?
I did a little last year, but last year I suffered from a whole bunch of quarantines and a few sprained ankles. But that was just last year. Now that's this year I moved on.
So what about your freshman year? Did you play JV freshman year?
Freshman year, I played freshman and JV.
Okay. That actually kind of unique because I feel like a lot of these players, like anyone they feel like has D1 offers,
Mhm.
basically like always played varsity. You obviously have Division 1 offers and didn't play varsity basketball all 4 years. You played, I guess, freshman team and JV team in your freshman year. So did you at all like? Did you always know like I'm probably gonna go D1. I'm gonna get these offers, or when you were on JV, it was more just like the goal is just to make varsity as soon as possible.
Well, I mean, the goal was obviously always to make varsity and get those D1 offers, but just like I always like listen to the story about Michael Jordan, how he never made his basketball team and all that. So that just like inspired me to never give up. And I worked like especially during quarantine when we would be virtual, I would wake up like at 5 in the morning, go train, come back, sit at my desk for like 8 hours and do all the work I had to do for school. So I just like kept pushing, and that's why I got that offer.
Yeah. Do you think that like maybe during that quarantine period or from even freshman to sophomore year, like you had maybe it was like a growth spurt or you got a little more athletic, like someone else that kind of gave you that boost to get you to the level that you're at today, on top of like you working hard, obviously.
So freshman year was about 6'4", and just like my whole life, I've just been like steadily growing. And now I'm 6'9", and with that, I obviously trained weights and all of that. But the thing that definitely I feel like helped me the most was like I did agility training to make me more quick, more athletic, and that just definitely shows today.
Hmm. And I guess in terms of Corona, you mentioned like being able, and I mean, I thought it was great. Like, I'm sure if I was an athlete, like, would have really
Mhm.
utilized that time because people were saying, like, coming back now from quarantine from when Corona was really bad. And now we're going to see who, like, took advantage of the time and who didn't take advantage of the time. Some people are probably going to come back in better shape and playing better than they were. And other people are going to come back even worse. They just kind of sat around and, watched YouTube basically. So, so you at all grateful for that time period where even though no colleges were seeing you, you were able to get better?
I'm definitely grateful for that time just because as an athlete and like as a student athlete, I should say, you don't really get that time like that. And just like being able to have that time and use it wisely to get better at the game was definitely something that was beneficial to me. And I just took advantage of that, and that was helpful to me.
Hmm. I'm also curious, were you always able to dunk since your freshman year or not?
So, end of freshman year, I started dunking after I started like training seriously and all that, and I just reaped the benefits of just the agility training and weight training.
Yeah. When was the moment or like what happened with you, maybe mentally, where it clicked that like you could really make it far in basketball? I think you really wanted to work hard for it. Like, what did something happen? Was it more you just woke up one morning? It was like random. Like, how did that happen?
So when it clicked to me that I really wanted to play college basketball was maybe I think around elementary school when my dad just started showing me his highlights, and because he played college at Virginia Tech, and that just like looked like something that I really wanted to do and take my life there. So just like then, like I've always just kept playing basketball, and that just inspired me to, and that just like clicked the button in my head that I wanted to do that. So that's what I did.
Yeah, who do you think's better at basketball? Who would win that 1v1? You or your dad?
I think I have him now. I don't know if he can move that well and guard me now.
Yeah. What about like your dad at your age versus you right now?
He tells me all the time that he thinks that I would get him just because I have more weight than he had and more strength, and I was a little bit taller than him right now.
Hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe also too is back then the players aren't as that's to say that they weren't as skilled back then as they are now. I feel like you maybe have that kind of
Yeah.
going for you too. I would say like you could probably figure out or have some moves that weren't even invented. Again, I'm not saying your dad's old, but I'm saying like back then, whatever 20 years ago, like whatever it is, some moves probably weren't really created that you probably know of that you have in your bag that he doesn't.
Mhm. The game of basketball has definitely changed, and that definitely gives me an advantage against him.
Yeah. Now, something that I guess also changed over time was the development of AAU basketball. Obviously, it wasn't
Mhm.
as big back then. It's very big now. You got any goals for yourself for the AAU season?
For this AAU season, I definitely just want to get more confident when it comes to attacking from the wing, Then off the court, I definitely want to just keep building my body up and gaining more muscle and like making my body bulletproof because I definitely think that'll help, especially at the next level and my next high school season, so that I can stay on the floor. Then just I definitely look forward to becoming just like a better leader because obviously I don't know these guys as well as I know my high school teammates. So just like being a leader for them and that'll just be good.
And in terms of getting offers, would you say that's at all a goal of yours, or what's your mentality towards that? Like, is it something where it's more like you just want to, I guess, be as best a basketball player as you can be because you know the offers are going to come, or would you maybe put like I want to get more offers as like a goal?
I mean, I feel like as I get better, the offers will come in. So I guess it's not like I'm like laser focused on that. I'm just always just like I have a tunnel vision on just getting my game better. Just I kind of just block that out because if I know if I do my job and get better, they will come.
Hmm. And with your high school season now, I mean, you win, or you didn't win, but like you know, you got placed on, you know, the all region team, first team, for again Region Five Class A, or sorry, not, what's it called Region Five, I think Class 5A, right? That is, yeah, yeah. So you get placed on first team all region for that. Very, very big accomplishment, especially in your junior year. So heading into your senior year now, what's the goal for your senior year?
So next year we move up to class with Division 6A, and those will definitely be better teams. And now that the guys this year are more mature and as they got more playing time on varsity, they see the level of that and how that is. So moving up to 6A, my goal would definitely be to win the state championship. Obviously, that's what every kid wants to do. But my goal is to just make all my teammates better for sure because if you do that, then that state championship will come with it.
Yeah. How'd you guys get moved up to 6A?
So since we are a private school and most of the kids that go to probably 90% of the kids that go to our school don't live in the district of the school. Each person that goes to our school counts as two. So now we get moved up to 6A.
Okay. Is I guess are you? Why? I'm assuming you're obviously not scared, but like, are you happy that you guys moved to 6A? Do you wish you could have stayed in 5A maybe, or does it just not really matter?
I just don't think it really matters because 5A was a really tough class too, and I think 6A will be as tough or even tougher, and I think that's good for us.
So is there any team that you're probably gonna be playing now that you're in 6A that you're excited to play?
Every year we're gonna play our rivals, and one of two of our rival teams, Marist and Blessed Trinity, are moving up too. So we'll play them, and Marist is in our region actually, so we'll play them two or three times. So that'll be really good for us. Then in some other 6A teams, I mean, all the teams are just going to be tough. So just like playing in those tough games and not the blowout games because those games are just never fun. It'll just be better for us so that we grow as a team and we can get farther towards a state championship.
For sure. I think we're kind of coming down to the end of the interview. Just got a couple more questions before we wrap this thing up. It's a good question. I'd like to end it off with just kind of end it more like a positive note. What do you want your legacy to be like once you step away from the game of basketball?
I want my legacy to be just like I wasn't just a basketball player because when you think of just a basketball player, you don't think they're doing like the right things necessarily like off the floor. And like I strive to be like the perfect student athlete, like prioritizing getting my work done every night and just like keeping my grades up because that's really important, especially
Mhm.
like when you're looking at opportunities to get into any school you want. So I definitely want my legacy to be just like not a basketball player and more of just like a guy that just like prioritize things right and help everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, with the 3.6 GPA, obviously, like that makes you a pretty high academic prospect. Which I feel like if you have good grades, that just opens up more opportunities for more schools to offer you. Because even if let's say some schools, I mean, I feel like a lot of the best schools are all D1 in terms of academics. But there's also a handful of schools that are very very well known schools, just
Mhm,
more for academics than basketball. But I still think that's like a big opportunity to set you up on a big
yeah,
career path. So definitely being a high academic prospect, sets you up for a lot more opportunities.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, I guess a segment that I'm trying to do, I kind of took this from Duncan Robinson's podcast, where they kind of use a word to summarize each interview. So I did that starting yesterday when I interviewed a player. So I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna see how this goes. So I'm doing it today. So I guess I'm just gonna pick one word, maybe explain why, or maybe just no, I'll explain why. And then yeah, I guess you'll go next. So I think my word kind of break down this interview. I would say it was a solid interview. I mean, I'm looking at the time. We kind of hit the 35-minute mark. I think it's like a
Mhm.
good solid spot for an interview. I feel like we really broke down a lot of different things. We talked about the college basketball stuff in the beginning. We talked about your recruitment, talked about high school, we talked about AAU. I think personally it was a solid interview. Kind of hit a bunch of topics. Wasn't too leaning towards one thing over another. So I think for this, I'd give a solid. What would your word be?
My word would definitely just be optimistic, just because like all the questions are just like looking toward the future in a positive way and just seeing how I can improve and what my goals are.
Yep, yeah, definitely. Hey, that definitely a good word. That I think that was a more unique one. I forgot what the kid said yesterday, but it was something like, no, it wasn't reflective, but that was kind of what he said, a word like similar to reflective, I think. So yeah, positive, definitely a good word. I'm hoping I always get like a different word every time. That's like a goal
Mhm.
for myself too, to always come up with a different word. But we'll see how that goes. But anyways, I'm just gonna plug your Instagram real quick and plug my Instagram. So his is at underscore Spencer.e and mine's at iHoopsFL. And anyways, for St. Pius the 10th, 6'9" power forward, Spencer Elliott. I'm Isaac Fleischer, and this has been another iHoopsFL interview. Peace out, guys.